Howdy, 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 howdy. How are you guys doing? Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Yet another Monday evening. Hope y'all are doing fantastic. We got a lot of Big Brother to talk about, right? Yeah, quite a bit. But before we do that, I'll start with the big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love reality TV, especially love reality TV fans, and especially love you guys who come out here every single Monday night watching live, and those of you who watch on repeat as well. I know not everyone can do a Monday night. Thank you. And thank you for your support, but also just thank you for your questions, your opinions. And my favorite part of Big Brother that I didn't count on while I was on the show was getting to interact with fellow fans of the show after I got out. One of my favorite parts of the week. So thank y'all for that. All right. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications so that you get alerts whenever we do a show like this or my morning recaps or who knows what else is going to come out. Please consider that. And while you're out there, you can hit the thumbs up. I certainly am not going to be upset if you hit a like while you're out there as well. But mainly, I'm just happy to have you guys out here. All right. Got all that out of the way. We'll talk about it again at the end. But I want to see who's all's out here this evening. Brian Hosteller, first one in. Brian, how are you doing, sir? Patricia Miller. I'm going to go through these quick, guys. So bear with me. Patricia Miller, Mark Taylor, Marilyn Sutherland. I love seeing all these names out here. Lee Strack, Christian Cisneros, Jacqueline Newberry, Kennedy Franken, Darlinda, let's see, Laura Lewis, Barbara Schultz, Audrey Cobb, Cindy Hire. Hey, Cindy. Michelle Moore, Karen Hummer. Karen. Tommy Braskett, Ed. Hey, Ed. Let's see, Patricia Miller. I got you about. I'll say it again. Anoe, Doreen Morris, Janet Johnson. Janet, how are you, my friend? Michelle Moore. I'll do that again. Chaz, Colleen, Andy W., Desiree Watts, Robert Gegner. Hey, Robert, welcome on board. Ashley Cullen, welcome to you as well. Paul Long. Sorry about that, Paul. Tommy Flanagan, and I think, let's see if I've got one or two more on here as we go through. Ma. God, I will feel bad if I missed out on Ma. Ma, how are you doing? Hope school's treating you well. Hope band's treating you well. Hope life in general is treating you well. Karen Hummer, Shelly Smith, Rita Coase. I'm sorry. Fix these glasses. And Marshall Davis, Imani Artist, Lori, and Lynn Gideon. All right, we're going to call it right there. Robert, if I didn't mention you, Robert Stark as well. Love seeing all y'all out here. All right. I'm going to try to keep up with as many questions as I can while I'm thinking of it. This is not a spoiler-free zone. If you're expecting us to only talk about what happened up to last night's episode, which was the HOH nominations, I think that's the last thing we saw. Yeah, we got a little bit more information than that we're going to talk about. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, put it on pause, catch up on the episodes, and come back here in a couple of days, and I'll still be here waiting for you. Yeah, we got to talk about all that. We had the veto ceremony today. Oh my gosh. I thought yesterday when I did my morning recap, I was so certain that the veto was not going to be used. Angela was going to be the primary target. Just a nice, easy week, which we know is what Chelsea wanted. Piece of cake. Send Angela out the door. Everyone's going to be happy with that. I think even Leah had said she didn't really care about that. No, it all has to change. And we've got to give some of the credit to Angela. We'll talk about that in just a second. By the time I'm at work today, by the time I start hearing some things, checking the feeds and all this afternoon, it's all flipped. Suddenly now I'm hearing the veto is going to be used. It's going to be used on Angela. It's going to be used on Chemo. There was all kinds of discussion. For those of you who don't know, spoiler number one, I guess, the veto was used, and it was used to pull Angela. Angela, again, the third time, Angela pulled off the block and replaced with Quinn. Isn't that a kick in the pants? Yeah, so now it's Quinn versus Chemo. One or the other will be heading out the door on Thursday. I was going to be said heading home. Not anymore heading home. They're going to the jury house, but there's no guarantee they're going to the jury house. We are in the jury phase. We didn't have a preseason battle back. That doesn't mean we won't have a post-jury battle back. Quinn or Chemo could be heading out the door and possibly coming right back in at some point here in 3 or 4 weeks. Wouldn't that be something? We shall see. All right. With all that said, let me get to a couple of questions. See what y'all got thinking about all this. I'm loving this season. All right. Let's see. Christian Cisneros is saying, why do you think Angela has gotten the veto used on her this many times? and and then and then Karen Hummer saying, why do they keep putting Angela up and then taking her down so many times? And then Kennedy Franklin, why do you think let me see it. Why do you think Angela keeps getting saved? And Cindy Heyer, is Angela just very lucky? We're all amazed, right? Lord, 3 times. I didn't realize that is a record. I didn't realize that before this season, I was tied for having the most number of vetoes used on me during a season. I had 2. I felt pretty fortunate that I had one week number 1. I had one used the very last, well, not the very last week. That's the week I got booted. Nicole used one on me when she had the HOH right after, what was it? I don't know. Anyway, I had 2 of them used on me. Yeah, Angela's had 3 used on her. How much of it is to Angela's credit, and how much is, as y'all said, just dang lucky? I think it's a little bit of both. The first time when Tucker used it on her, she was up against someone or playing with someone who just wanted to who just wanted to not show off, who was playing the game a different way. I do think it helped Angela. The veto has been used every single week so far this season, right? We've never had that before in Big Brother. I think part of that is because of the AI BB arena. Because think of it this way, normally when you have a veto competition, you've got 2 nominees. You've got an HOH who usually wants to keep the noms the same, usually. And then you've got 3 people who may not care enough to use a veto. So you only have 2 out of the 6 people who are very vested in trying to win and get the veto pulled off the block. Well, now when you have 3 people on the block, suddenly half the people playing want the veto to be used, right? So I would expect the veto to be used more because we had that BBAI arena. And it just meant that you had an extra person on the block, extra person to win the veto, pull themselves off, things like that. It also means that you tend to have one more pawn put on the block that you don't have in a normal season as well. And more than that, when Angela got pulled off the first time, when Tucker pulled her off, it's because he knew that just because he used it on her and not himself did not mean that he was going to be up for the vote that Thursday night, because he still had the opportunity to compete in the BBAI arena. So I think that extra competition made it a little bit easier to use on Angela. So the first time, I think it was just the twist this season that caused it. The second time with Leah, I think she was just friendly with Leah when other people maybe weren't so. And she got in Leah's head that they needed to protect each other. This last time, today, when it was used, I'll give Angela full credit. I think Angela is, I'm not sure that she's the most strategic player in the house. She's too emotional, certainly too emotional for me to play with. She would drive me bonkers. But having said all the things about why I think maybe she's not always the greatest player, it worked this time. She got in people's head. She started talking about the fact that there was this big alliance on the other side, that the only way that people like Chelsea and Mackenzie were going to survive was if they pulled together as a group. She did what I tried to do during my season some. Find a bigger target. If you think you're the biggest target in the house, find a bigger one or shift the focus more to somewhere else. She did that. She was a big target for everyone. She found a bigger target in T-Core and Chemo and Rubina and Quinn and Leah, and she convinced them to do it. And all she had to do was just do a little bit of whispering. What amazes me is we had Mackenzie and Chelsea saying, we know that Angela just always is saying stuff. We're not even sure we believe her, but just her planting the seeds in their mind was enough for them to start thinking that, what if she's right? Is she really that much of a threat? So why does she keep getting pulled off? Yeah, a little bit of it's luck with the season, the way it was set up and all of that. Some of it is just decent strategy, the way she gets into people's heads as well. Some of it, I think, is just because people underestimate her. We heard Quinn saying, hey, she's going to just slide all the way to the end because every week there's going to be someone that's a bigger target than Angela, and they're not going to want to waste their HOH on Angela. And I feel like there's some of that too. We hear every week everyone saying, yeah, no one wants Angela here. But on the other hand, we'll get her out next week. One of these days, next week's going to turn into the final 2, and then who knows? I still don't think she makes it that far. I think as you keep running out of people, eventually you're going to have one of two people. Well, you're gonna have three types of people. You're gonna have the people that are on your side, the people that are very much against you, and the people that are somewhere in the middle. And if you can't get enough of the people that are on the other side because the numbers are limited, they're gonna start throwing up Angela. And one of these times, someone's gonna win a veto and save themselves, and she'll be the default and head out the door. But yeah, I'm not gonna blame it on all on luck. I think Angela is responsible for some of this. As crazy as her game is, she she survived again, right? But here's the thing. She thinks it's because everyone loves her in this house so much. No one wants to see her go. That's not it. They just see bigger targets. But yeah. Isn't that incredible? I'm just amazed. All right. Mark Taylor saying, will we see the slip and slide comp in the near future? I think so. I think we're going to see it next week. And I could be wrong, but it seems like slip and slide would be right about the right time, because after this week, we're going to be down to 8 house guests, right? We've got 9 now. We'll lose 1 this week, so we'll be down to 8. One of the house guests will be HOH. Well, we know Chelsea will be HOH, or is HOH, so she won't be competing. That means we're only going to have 7 people competing in HOH competition on Thursday. That's a pretty good number for slip and slide. I think that seems like it's about right. The other reason I say that is because we haven't heard any announcement that the episode is extra long or anything like that would suggest a double eviction episode. And so because of that, I do think we'll have a double eviction before too long. So if they do slip and slide now, get it out of the way, then maybe they could do the double eviction the following week, or maybe the following week. I think we'll see slip and slide either this coming up Thursday or the following Thursday. Slip and slide, as far as I know, is always an HOH competition. I don't think it's ever veto competition. If any of y'all remember, tell me and let me know. But I don't think so. I think it's always been HOH. Not my best competition I've ever done, but it was still fun. Just like OTEP. It was still fun to get to participate in, even if maybe I didn't exactly win the thing. All right, Patricia Miller is saying, love the OTEV picture from your season. What a comp that was. And Ed saying, who won OTEV your season? Excuse me. All right. First of all, yeah, that's OTEV from season 21. We had OTEV the Paranoid Pigeon. Let me show you. There I am. There I am, there in the middle, getting ready for the competition. Can y'all see that slide behind from the top? It looks a lot steeper and longer than you see on the TV. But yeah, that was our that was our competition. Who won our season? Mickey was out first, then me, then Christy, I think, then Kat, and it was either Nick or Tommy. I can't remember. I think it may have been Tommy. Pretty sure it was Tommy, and Tommy pulled Christy off the block. And because she was America's field trip, she was the 3rd nominee that week. So when she got pulled off, they didn't put anyone else up instead. So Kat and I were nominated. Kat and I stayed on the block. Christy came back off. That twist didn't work out so well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure Tommy won our season. We had our big Hallmark moment. Kat stole the rope from me, got up ahead of me, and was crying. And all I can think is, man, Kat, if you don't win this thing, one of us is going home. And I don't want that to be either one of us. So I'm trying to cheer her up and say, just forget about me, move on, go on without me. You'd think I was being left abandoned for a pack of wolves or something. No, it's just a game. But yeah, we had a lot of fun playing OTEF. I want to show y'all something from my OTEF season. We had, and we'll talk about this week's OTEF, but during our season, we were asked questions about what was the name of the competition where someone finished in 3 minutes. I don't remember what all the questions were, but they were all about competitions. I got to keep one of mine. Here's mine. This is Patch Perfect. Patch Perfect is a competition that I won, my HOH competition. So they sent this to me. So this is one of the medallions that we had to grab during OTEV and bring it out and present it to OTEV itself. So no one's ever really seen this thing. I don't know why they have a barcode. Yeah, I wonder what that reads if I went and looked at it. But yeah, so there's one of the things that one of the actual ones that was there that we played. So this was my Patch Perfect, one of my medallions that I got. God, that was so much fun sliding down that hill. And I remember going so fast and hitting pretty hard about halfway down and sliding into the water, and then just fighting through everything, looking for the medallions, and it's so much fun. I am so happy I got to play in this particular iconic one, and I got to play for more than one round. Is it not amazing that? And for those of you who don't know, OTEV was the veto competition on Saturday that they played in. Everyone got the first question wrong except for Mackenzie, and the question was, who is the only, and I assume it was male house guest, because otherwise it could have been Chelsea in the answer as well. Who's the only male house guest that did not compete in the first HOH competition? Well, everyone thought it was Tucker, because the first thing they said was everyone needs to pair up. Whichever odd man is out doesn't get to go forward. Well, it was Tucker, and so he didn't go forward, but that actually counted as the first round. People assumed that meant that he didn't play, but actually it was Cedric who was the mascot that week. Everyone got it wrong except for Mackenzie, and that was it. So then they said, all right, game over. No one got it right except for Mackenzie. Y'all are done. Tommy Braskett is saying, how are they going to edit that since it was only one question? Yeah, I don't know. And they don't have BBAI Arena this week. Suddenly there's a dearth of, I think that's probably why they got some alcohol this week and a whole lot of stuff going on to make up for it. I did hear, because they were outside for 3.5 hours. OTEF should not take that long to do, even if it's a regular 5-round competition. I did hear that after the competition was over, remember it's like 108 degrees or whatever in LA. So after it was over, apparently they let everyone go onto OTEV and play on the slide and play in the water. It looks pretty green up there. Would you want to play in that water? Yeah, when it's 108 degrees, you would. But apparently everyone got to go up and down the slide and play a little bit and all of that. Everyone did it except for T-Core, and it doesn't look like she wanted to get wet, but everyone else had fun with it. So they may show them just playing around, having fun. They may just show OTEV. Apparently he used some foul language, talking to the house guest about their inability to get even one question right. So I don't know. There's going to be it's going to be funny if they have more diary room sessions explaining the rules than to have actual time for the competition itself. I don't know how they're going to do the content of it. That's going to be, I don't remember that ever happening before. I always assumed that if you got an answer wrong and there wasn't someone else waiting to take your place, then whoever got it wrong would have to just run back down and try to be the first one to get it and come back up again. We've had that before, right? I mean, I know with Tyler and Rockstar and things like that, but that was a situation where they realized it before they gave their answers to OTEV. But I always assumed that you would still have your chance a little bit later to do something like that. Apparently not. Learn something new every year as far as OTEV goes. So yeah, all that studying, and no one got the question except for Mackenzie. So props to Mackenzie. The Aggie pulls out her OTEV victory. Yeah, I really want to watch that on the episode Wednesday. Will it be Wednesday? I would think it'll be Wednesday when they show that episode. So, yeah, that'll be fun. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Lynn Gideon is saying, why not use the veto on Chemo? Then it doesn't matter if Quinn or Angela goes. A good point. And then Amani Artist is saying, wouldn't it be a better move for MJ to use the veto on Chemo and then both and had both sides of the house? Let me think about that for a second. Yeah, I really thought, Mackenzie is not a fan of Angela's to begin with, right? No, even in the best of situations. Now suddenly she was mad because Angela had basically tried to play her during the competition by saying, oh, you got it right, when really Angela thought that Mackenzie had gotten it wrong. Well, it turns out she did have it right. But Mackenzie knows that Angela was trying to play her. So you would think she'd be even more mad at her. It just comes down to the sides. If she wanted to get Chemo out, pull Chemo off, and then Quinn goes up. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how it works out to pull Angela off. I guess the thinking is if they pull Angela off, now Angela's going to vote with them against, say, a Quinn. Whereas if they pull Chemo off, Chemo's going to vote with T-Core and Rabina to potentially send Quinn out of the house, maybe, but also to see if you had Quinn and Angela on the block, maybe they would choose to send out Angela instead. I don't know. I need to go in and add those votes up correctly, but it really is turned into kind of two sides of the house, right? You've got on one side T-Core, Rabina, and Chemo. Then on the other side, you've got Chelsea and Cam and Leah and Mackenzie, I guess, kind of. Well, really, Chemo. Try again. One side, T-Core, Chemo, and Rabina. The other side, Chelsea and Cam and Angela. And then in between, you've got Quinn and Leah that are just kind of floating between the two, and you're not really sure which direction they're going. You're starting to see those numbers tighten up as a result of all of this. And so, yeah, I think they just wanted to make sure they maybe had Angela as a vote. They wanted to make sure Angela kind of felt like she owed them and all of that. So, all right, let's see what else we've got on here. Andy, God, sorry about that. Andy W saying, Big Brother has been so fun this year, never a dull moment. Remember all those people who said, oh, now that Tucker's gone, it's going to be such a boring season and nothing's going to happen now that Tucker's gone. Well, guess what? We got a lot of other wild and crazy house guests inside this Big Brother house. So yeah, it hadn't let up one bit, even with Tucker gone. Now they're spending a lot of time talking about Tucker, but certainly we should with Quinn and Joseph and Angela still in the house. Yeah, of course it's going to keep on getting crazy. All right, let's see what else we've got. Ma is saying a guy is guaranteed to go, meaning only 2 guys after this week. Thank you, Ma. I knew they keep talking about the girls thing. I hadn't dawned on me that now that you got 2 guys. So you're right. No matter what, we're going to be down to 6-2. At that point, yeah, I know there's been talk. We had last night, Rabina was saying, I think she's talking to T-Core. She's always talking to T-Core, right? But I think she was saying something along the lines of the one person from the girl side that she doesn't really trust is Leah. That she thinks if Leah had her way, she would put up 2 girls before she put up 2 guys. So yeah, at this point, are they going to go ahead and get rid of all the guys before they start picking off the women? I think perhaps not. I think Cam, especially if Quinn goes home, I think Chemo is going to be protected for a while. I think Cam would be protected for a while. I think once Quinn goes home, there's only those 2 guys left. I can see targets of Leah, Mackenzie, both potentially heading out the door. Angela may be thrown in the mix as well. So yeah, you may not actually get down to 6 women and 0 men. I think you may get some little mix before that. No one's going to wait to the last second because all these women are just waiting to pounce on each other, as you always should do when you're getting that close to the end. But yeah, it's been a different season in terms of the gender mix and how they're going forward, right? It's nice to see that. It's nice to see the way they've made it happen without actually saying we have a girls' alliance. And they didn't really have a girls' alliance. I know during my season, they tried to form one, Jessica and Kimia, the Black Widows and Bella, and that lasted all of about, I don't know, an hour or so till Bella went and told people about the women's alliance. But whenever you start off too early in the season forming a women's alliance, it just doesn't seem to work. Well, this time they've just waited till everyone got to know each other and turned it into something a little bit later. Is this a new formula? Are we going to see more of this kind of thing happening in later seasons now that they perhaps have the formula for how to make it work? And it could just be because this is a quirky season. Most seasons, you may not be able to get the alpha males out so quickly. But you had someone like Tucker who just kept sticking his neck out on the block, acting like it's Thanksgiving and you're the turkey. But for the most part, you don't have people like Cedric volunteering to go on the block. It just kind of worked out that way this season. And yeah, there are a few women that are a little happy to see that as well. I'm fine with it. I got to say, of everyone left in this game, Chelsea may be my pick for the top player in terms of just playing a brilliant game. She's been on the top, on the bottom. She's fought her way back up. She deserves the title. More so than anyone else I see in this house right now. Now, maybe that'll change next week. But right now, I think Chelsea's playing a really dang good game. God, I really admire the game that she's playing. She manages to insulate herself so well while making some moves. This week, she is managed, even though she's HOH, Quinn is on the block. Now Chelsea's got Ticor Rabina and Chemo all grateful that she didn't put one of them back on. She's tight with Chelsea still. She's got Angela feeling like she owes her. She just really has done a good job of covering herself from all sides. So props to Angela so far. All right. Karen Loveland, thank you. I'm glad you're out here, Karen. I wanted to get another. Ron is home and doing great. Whoop, whoop. Congratulations on that. Sent updates to your daily updates. I saw one or two. Thank you so much for that. Our birthdays are next month, 81 and 79. Well, congrats to you for all different kinds of reasons. I am so happy to hear that he is at home and obviously doing much better. Again, the wonders of medicine and maintenance drugs and figuring all that stuff out. And I know how stressful it is. I know even from my own parents and own experiences and all that, it's hard to relax while you're in the hospital. So I'm glad he's at home where he gets a chance to chill out a little bit. And remind me of y'all's birthdays next week. Hey, congrats to y'all on that. So yay! Prayers are answered. I'm very happy for you, Karen, and for Ron and the whole family. I like hearing that. Thank you so much. All right, Annoe is saying, why would anyone believe anything Angela says? I know, really. Said, why would anyone believe anything Angela says after she has blown up everyone's game? Arg. Yeah, tell me about that. Leah was complaining about that last night, saying, well, she's throwing me under the bus. Yeah. I did all this to save Angela. I pulled her off the block last week, and now she's sitting there doing this to me. Just see my little we're dog sitting today, so I've got a little activity next to me. Yeah, Leah saying I did all of this stuff to save Angela, and now she's throwing me under the bus by saying that I'm part of this new alliance and I formed this alliance. How could she do that to me? And Chelsea said something like, well, she's done that to 90% of us, Leah. So welcome to Big Brother. Welcome to the game. Now you're being treated just like Angela has treated all the rest of us. I don't know. Is it because people are willing to overlook Angela's past things because they want a vote so bad? Is she just very good at convincing people that I was just sleepy? I was on slop. I just was not feeling it last week, but I won't ever do it again. What is it? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, and you should be evicted. I don't know. I feel like when I played my season of Big Brother, I thought trust was such a big issue. And you basically are allowed to break it once or twice, and then you kind of lose the benefit of it. So I really tried to not be dishonest when I didn't have to be. Even taking a little chance with my game here and there to show how trustful I could be. And I think it paid off. Well, I think it paid off my week of OTEV when it came down to myself versus Kat. And people felt like they could trust me more when they said, Cliff, if we save you, will you come over and work with us? If you're going to save me, yeah, absolutely. I'll come over and do whatever you want. I'll go wash your windows or what. Yeah, sure. Just save me and I'll do whatever. I think they trusted me. So I had built up trust that helped carry me through the game. You break that a few times and then no one ever believes you unless your name is Angela. Yeah. Arg is the right way to put it. Why? I don't know. I don't know if they really trust her as much as they just keep seeing other people that are bigger targets and they think maybe we should kind of trust. The only way I would trust Angela is with the recognition that she will work with me as long as it benefits her game. I don't care how much she says to you about y'all are besties and she can't wait to hang out with you after the set. None of that matters. Realize that as long as what you're doing benefits Angela, she's full on board with you and vice versa and all that. But the second that you do something that may not be in her best interest, she's pitching you to the curb like yesterday's trash. They've got to realize that, right? It gets a little frustrating at times watching it, where I just want to yell at the TV and say, no, don't, why are you believing that? But that's part of the joy of Big Brother is watching these people try to navigate some of these social strategies and lies and truths and everything else. All right, Sharon Carroll is saying Angela is going to end up going to the end. She may. Now, here's a question for y'all. And then Colleen is saying, they should have gotten her pre-jury. They deserve what's coming to them. Yeah, I kind of agree with you. And Quinn said that. Leah was complaining about all this stuff about how she kind of wants Angela gone and she wants chemo both gone. And Quinn told her last night, said, well, that's why I had her on the block last week was to get her out. And Leah, yeah, you chose to pull her off, but otherwise, and I think Mackenzie or someone was talking about that this afternoon, saying, I'm not feeling too bad for Leah. She's feeling a little upset that Quinn's on the block now, that maybe she's going to be a target as well. She's saying she did it to herself. She didn't have to save Angela last week. She could have done things differently, and she chose not to, and now she's paying the price. And it's absolutely correct. So yeah, it just blows me away. Yeah, I think Angela, she could make it to the end. Now, here's a question. I want to see what y'all think on this. And I know we got a lot of game left to play, so it may not be a fair question. Do you think Angela not only makes it to the end, is there any scenario you see where Angela could win at the end, where people actually vote for her? If she stands up at the end and says, I was the very first HOH. I did all this stuff and y'all came after me. I've been a target. I've been on the block more than anyone else. And yet I managed to get more people to use a veto on me than anyone else. And I survived and I'm old and whatever she wants to throw. Do y'all think she's got an argument that would convince people to actually give her the money as opposed to her being just the absolute person who's destined to finish with 0 votes and be a second place finisher if she makes it to the end? I maybe see a path. I don't know. I think for Angela to win it, it may not be as much her argument as much as also needing a bitter jury. If you get T-Core and Rubina and Chemo that don't make it to the end and they feel like they got betrayed by Chelsea and Cam or something, maybe they vote for Angela just because they're bitter against whoever's sitting in the chair next to them. Something like that. I could see a little bit of a bitter jury maybe contributing to an Angela victory, but I probably wouldn't be betting on her winning it just yet. But yeah, I could see her making it dang close to the end at least. All right, Tina Harlan Sandstad is saying, Angela has sure made this season entertaining. Love her or hate her, she is great TV. Absolutely. You know what she reminds me of a little bit? And this may not be fair. I don't know who would be upset. Hello, Athena. Hello. She reminds me a little bit of Frenchie. Remember Frenchie from season 23, right? Started off, God, amazing guy, tried to do way too much, got burned out, but he had a lot of grand ideas. He little quick to just do all kinds of crazy stuff. I feel like Frenchie, if he had been in the house longer, could have played a game very similar to Angela. Maybe he wouldn't have been quite as emotional with some of his stuff, but yeah, she is fantastic TV. Whoever cast Angela, spot on. I mean, remember, Big Brother, they don't really care who wins or loses. Not really. They want good TV. They want people like Tucker and Angela who are just going to stir things up, create chaos every single week. I always had to remind myself while I was playing the game that you're not aligned with production. Production may not want the best for you, Cliff. So when they're in there in the diary room saying, "Hey, Cliff, what do you think would happen if you flipped and sent Christy out and lied to her and sent her out? If you did that, what do you think would happen?" Well, I think it'd be great TV, but it may not be great TV for old Cliff for very long. Yeah, I always had to keep in mind that their objectives were a little bit different than mine were. But yeah, Angela, I don't know if she'd ever come back again, but maybe. I think we need an amazing race with, I don't know, Angela and Lisa. I don't know who, Angela and Quinn or Tucker and Lisa. Send Tucker and Lisa on an amazing race. And let's see if they can ever get along well enough. Lisa shows up with 10 pounds of glitter and Tucker just calls it after the first race. Wouldn't that be fun to watch some of that stuff? All right. Ed is saying, you named half of the house as a bigger target. Well, half of the house is a bigger target as long as the other half of the house is the one in charge that particular week. But that's the beauty about Angela, is that half the house is a bigger threat to her this week. But now if T-Core, Rubina, someone on that side wins HOH next week, well, suddenly the other half of the house may be a bigger target. That suddenly Leah and Quinn and Cam may be bigger targets than Angela is. Now, if you go from the other direction, I could see. I mean, Angela voted to try to send Chemo out last Thursday. For that alone, I could see if Chemo wins HOH, I can certainly see Angela going back up on the block again. Whether if she's on a target versus Leah, which way did Chemo and T-Core and Rubina vote? Do they vote to send out Angela, or do they vote to send out Leah? I think they vote to send out Leah. I think Angela escapes that vote as well. Now, that's a long time in the future. In this house, 10 minutes is a long time in the future. But yeah, I think no matter which side of the house is a threat and no matter which side of the house is in power, Angela's just kind of right there in the middle right now. No one wants to work with her unless your name's Leah, and she's burned that bridge as well. No one wants to work with her, but that also makes her less of a threat because no one expects her to work with the other side. So, what an interesting game, right? All right, Sandy O is saying, sounds like the ladies are voting out the men. Do you think there's a behind the scenes women's alliance? Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it's behind the scenes. I think they haven't formally done it. Supposedly after the last HOH, they said, let's wait till the HOH, and if the right person wins it, then we'll form the women's alliance. Well, that hadn't worked out. And so it's not formal. There's no names that I know of, at least. But I think it's getting close to a situation where a lot of these ladies are saying, I'm not going to be the one to break it. I'm not going to be the one that goes after a woman before a man, maybe as a pawn or something, but in terms of actual taking someone out. I think they're getting close to the point where everyone is feeling like they have a bit of a cause to get the women to the very end. And so if you're the woman that breaks that and sends out maybe even Angela before Cam or something, that you could incur some wrath from the other women. I think you're not quite there. I think you could get out Angela and still get a pass from most people. But I think they're getting close to the point where if you don't stick with the women, the other women may come after you as well. So yeah, I think it's somewhat unspoken, but I think it's a very solid women's alliance there. And I think everyone's on board except maybe Leah. And if you ask Leah, she'd say she was as well. It's just that we know that poor Leah. Joseph went home, her first minion number one, thing number one, and now thing number two is Quinn, and he's getting ready to go home potentially. We'll see what happens. She's losing all of her guys that were her, worshipers that were watching out for. Not looking good for Leah. Not a good week for Leah so far. All right, Tina Wagner is saying, Slipper Slide has a safety jar, doesn't it? It depends. Every season is a little bit different. Most seasons, you've got a big jar and then you've got a smaller jar. Sometimes that smaller jar has once you fill it up, you can get a bigger scoop that helps you go to the other jar faster. Sometimes a little scoop has a $5,000 bonus attached to it. So if you know you aren't going to win, you can try to fill that up. They do it different ways. With my season, all they had was a beer mug that we had to fill up. They didn't have any second little safety mug. I spent more times. Do y'all know what the area or the volume of a circle of a globe is? I do. It's 4/3 to r to the third power. Pi r to the third times 4/3 defines the volume. I was ready when I got out there and slip and slide to very quickly look at the radius of the big one, the little one, do a quick little bit of math in my head and figure out whether it was better to fill up the little one before going to the big one. I had it all figured out. I was ready for that competition. Nah, they didn't have it. They just had one big old mug, and I didn't stand a chance of filling it up quicker than Mickey, especially once he ripped his clothes off and all that. So yeah, it didn't work out. Most seasons, yes, you've got a safety jar or a bonus jar or something like that. You gotta be careful because when it's $5,000, if people immediately see you going for that instead of trying to win HOH, some people will hold that against you. They'll say, oh, you don't really want to be here. You're just here for the money. So I'll boot you out. You're $5,000 richer than I am. You've got to be careful for that. But if you kind of make it look like you're trying to win HOH until it's obvious that you aren't going to win, and then you switch over, you get a pass sometimes. With me, it didn't matter because I didn't offer it anyway. Man, boo production. I wanted to use some of my math smarts. Didn't get a chance to. All right, Ma is saying we should see double eviction next week or the week after that. I think you're right, Ma. I don't think it's this coming up Thursday, but it would make sense that the following Thursday or certainly the Thursday after that. During my season, we had a double when we were down to 7 people, I believe. So this season we're right about there. We're going to be down to 8 people after Thursday. The next week would take us to 7. So yeah, I think your timing's just about right, Ma. Of course, we had a battle back pre-jury during my season. This season, do y'all want a battle back? Would you like to see a battle back of the jury members, or are we too far into the game at this point to have a battle back? I've got mixed feelings. On the one hand, if you're the first person who's out and you miss 2 or 3 weeks and then you get a chance to come back in, I feel that's really an advantage. If you can survive and make it back into the house, that's really an advantage because you've missed being exposed or at risk or getting blood on your hands for several weeks in a row, which should work to your advantage. So, I see the pros and cons of it. But on the other hand, I love giving people a redemption story, a chance to maybe get one more chance to try to come back into that game and maybe do something. So I don't know. But yeah, I think you're right, Ma. I think not this week, but the next week or the week following easily could be a double eviction. All right. Karen Hummer is saying, what about Zingbot? Can't wait to hear what he says about the craziness. And Tommy Braskett saying Zingbot should be this week. Could be this week. For a veto competition, sure. You could have it with 8 people. Yeah. I almost think, and this is just my gut feel, I really almost feel like slip and slide this week and then Zingbot the following week is my guess. And here's my deal. For Zingbot, please, Zingbot, if there's someone from CBS production watching, some PA whose poor job is to sit here on a Monday night and watch me talk every Monday night so that you can report back that I didn't say anything detrimental to Big Brother or that I didn't spill any huge secret. I don't really have any anymore, but if there's someone watching this that's somehow attached to Big Brother in production, tell the writers we don't need body shaming of any sort as part of Zingbot. You can, Lord knows there is enough about everyone's gameplay this year that you can make fun of that without making fun of anyone's stature, their size, their looks, whatever. If it's a physical anything, you don't need to make fun of. That's cheap humor that we don't need. The one craw in my cap. Is that the right term? I don't know. The one thing that irritates me, I love Zingbot, but I do not like when they make fun of a person's appearance. You don't need to do that. And not in this day and age. You're better than that, Zingbot. Even you, Zingbot, are better than that. And again, there's enough to make fun of with the gameplay of each and every single one of these house guests. Put me as a writer for Zingbot. We'll have a special 3-hour episode, and all we'll do is just zing people for several hours. And we'll still have plenty of ammunition. But yeah, I think it could be not this week, but the following week. But we'll find out. It's going to be fun. They're all hoping and looking forward to it. And it's going to be a shame. Someone that's a true fan like Quinn, if he misses out on Zingbot because he goes home this week, he is going to hate it. Someone like that's going to hate the fact that he didn't make it to the end just because, yeah, you want to go to the end and be a champion. But someone who's a true super fan is going to hate that they may miss out on a slip and slide, hate that they're going to miss out on Zingbot, hate that they're going to miss out on BB Comics, some of those iconic competitions. It's going to just drive them bonkers that they don't get to be there for that stuff. All right, Dr. Bose, yet again, thank you, sir. I absolutely appreciate it. Dr. Bose said, you didn't think I'd forget you, did you? Well, no, I didn't really think you would, Dr. Bose, but I always appreciate the support. What was the most interesting non-game discussion you remember having in the house? Wow, that's a pretty interesting one. We talked about so much stuff in that house that was non-game related. Maybe a little bit was listening to some of Holly's discussions about working for this animal rescue. It wasn't animal rescue; it was like an animal ranch and taking care of animals and all. It was kind of fun. But you know what kind of stuck in my mind was a conversation with me and Christy. And it was just, I think it's just because it's very sincere, very heart to heart. I asked Christy at one point, we're just hanging around. I said, Christy, are you ever going to get married? Do you feel like getting married? Is that in your future? And she said, well, I'd love to get married, but I don't know if I ever will because I want to get married in the church. And because I'm gay, churches won't marry me in the church. And so I just don't know if that opportunity would present itself. And I was just kind of sounding, I mean, you're from Jersey. I'm in Texas, which a little more conservative than where you are. I told her, I said, Chrissy, there's churches in Texas that'll marry you. Don't let that stop you. Don't ever let that get in the way. If you want to get married, I'll find a church for you. Don't let that be the thing that stops you from pursuing, love and marriage and everything else. And it was a quick conversation. It probably wasn't more than 5 minutes or so, but for some reason, I just remember that. And then when she got married later, now it turned out it was down in Tulum or somewhere, a little fancier place. But yeah, I don't know. I think I like that conversation because it just took this whole concept of here I am, an old guy from Texas that works in the oil field that people considered very conservative and all of that, talking to someone who is a girl, a younger woman from New Jersey that's gay, completely different lifestyles. And yeah, we just had a little connection point. Just, people talking. I don't know. It's one of those things that made me very grateful that I got to meet such a range of people while I was in that house. So that was maybe the most interesting thing, Dr. Bose. I'm sure if I had a little more time to think about it, there's a whole lot more. Every person in that house was so incredibly interesting. I'm so grateful to get to hang with them. But that's the one I always remember when I just think back to some of our conversations and such. So thank you for the question. Thank you for the support, Dr. Bose. I absolutely always appreciate it. All right, Tina Warner saying Chelsea looked at the camera and wants Quinn to stay. Interesting. All right, thank you for that. I was talking about that with Sharon a little earlier, saying, we're all assuming that because they put Quinn on the block, that they now want Quinn to go home, that kind of plays into everyone wanting him gone. Someone said, oh, everyone wants Quinn out of the house. It just seems natural at this point. If he goes up, he's going home. But I could see an argument. If over the next few days, the other side is able to convince each other that T-Core, Rubina, and Chemo really are in a position of power, maybe Quinn does survive this thing. You would think that Quinn could have the support of Leah and Angela and Mackenzie, perhaps. Well, that's 3. And Chelsea breaks the tie. I mean, it's feasible that Chemo could go home this week. I don't think it's a bad move. I think Chemo and T-Core and Rubina are the strongest trio in this house. And we're talking about Angela sliding to the end. If they don't do something pretty quick, those 3 are going to slide to the end, protecting each other. And before you know it, you're going to have a final 4 of Angela, T-Core, Rubina, and Chemo. Wouldn't that be interesting? Yeah, Tina, I think there's something to be said for that. And if Chelsea's looking at the cameras saying that, then that gives a little more credence to it as well. Now, I do, based on what she said she wants Quinn to go home. Does that mean that she's going to push? That she wants Quinn to stay. Does that mean she's going to push that direction? Or at the end, is she going to wait for other people to make the move? And that's just her personal feeling, but she maybe lets the House vote the way it votes. I don't know. We're going to find out. All right, let me check up here real quick. Dr. Bose, thank you for the support. And Chaz, thank you. I appreciate the support from you as well. Thank you. Chaz is saying, Cliff, who are some of the non-winners that you think deserve a second chance? And how would you navigate it if you walked in and Angela was there? All right. Second, latter question first. If I walked in there and Angela was there, to her face, I would be very kind. And I would come up to her and I would say, oh my God, you're such a incredible player. And please let me work with you. And I would be telling her that, hey, I've got a few years on me. You've got a few years on you. We're both huge fans. Forget the age. We're both huge fans. We've got similar backgrounds with families and all of that. I would try to do everything I could to find bonds with Angela, and I would work with her. But Nicole taught me a thing, Nicole Anthony, while we were in our house. I told her something about, I trust people. I'm naturally a trusting person until they convince me otherwise. And Nicole said, I'm from Long Island. She said, our saying up here is get before you get got, or something like that. Get them before they get you. Don't give them the chance to go after you. And I feel like I would have to do that with Angela, of basically saying, yeah, I want to work with you. But the first chance I had, the first time I saw her maybe waffling a little bit, I'd be so quick to throw her under that bus. She would be my throwaway target in a lot of ways. And I don't mean that mean or badly or anything else. I just think from a strategy standpoint, I would not want to ride to the end with Angela. And I would take advantage of her thinking we could work together as long as possible. But I also would not want to be aligned too closely with her. So I wouldn't want it to last forever. So there's my strategy. Now, if I end up on a show with Angela, she's not going to trust me for a second, right? I burned my bridge with her already. As far as non-winners, I think deserve a second chance. That's a pretty good question. There's people like, I'll assume you're not talking about me, right? I'll leave my name out of the argument. I'd love to get a second chance, but beyond that, Tommy from my season, I'd love to see Tommy get another chance because Tommy was a pretty good player. There's a few people I've always enjoyed seeing play the game. The Scotty, not Scotty. Who's the dentist? God, why can I not remember his name? It's horrible. The dentist, doctor, whatever. Y'all know who I'm talking about, right? Help me out here, guys, because I've got a little brain stall at this point. But the dentist, John McIntyre, God, the dentist. I'd love to see him get a little second chance. Brittany Haynes, I would love to see her get a chance to play the game again. Eric, and she's on reindeer games, but I want to see her get a chance to play a real game of Big Brother again. Eric Stein, who was America's player, never got really a chance to play his own game. I'd like to see him get another chance to play. He deserves a first chance to play the game. I know he won't ever. It's way past him and all that, but I'd still like to see it. And then I'll also say Vanessa Russo. One of my favorites in terms of playing the game. Sometimes she got a little emotional too, but I thought she's a very strategic player, and I'd like to see how she played the game again. There's a lot more, but I'll just throw those out right off the bat. That's a good question. Thank you so much, Chaz. I appreciate the support and the question itself also. All right. Let's see. 7:53. God, I knew it'd go so fast. Michelle Mills is saying, this season reeks of production interference. You think so? And we'll skew the nominations votes to ensure LGBTQ and all female alliance agenda go forward and T-Core wins. I've got mixed feelings on that. I don't think you can play Big Brother without a little production interference, just because if for no other reason they want drama. And so I think they'll sometimes stir it up a little bit in the diary room. Just there's a reason sometimes people go into the diary room, they come back out suddenly seeming to be a little more paranoid or a little more stressed out, things like that. I think sometimes the questions asked of you in a diary room are intentionally asked to create some confusion and some fear in your head. I just think it's their way of creating more drama. But as I said before, I don't know that they necessarily go in saying, we want this person to win, we want this person not to win. I don't think it's a little bit like God up above. I don't think he cares who wins Big Brother. I don't think the production people care that much either, as long as they get a good show about it. Now, as far as your question about the all-female alliance and LGBTQ and all of that, it's a possibility. They know that people are watching this and that they want to be seen. They had their diversity initiative back in 2021. They certainly want to do what they can to show that they are going with the times, so to speak, and doing everything possible. So, yeah, I'm not going to put it past them of maybe having a little bit of an agenda to help further the cause of Big Brother itself. So, yeah, I'm not going to say you're wrong. I don't think it's as big a push as sometimes some people think. I don't think you go in Allison Grodner's office and there's a big picture of T-Core sitting on her mirror or anything like that. I think they just want good TV, whoever that happens to be. Now, if someone like that wins, I'm sure there'll be people, some segments that are cheering extra special just because it represents something more than just an individual's victory. But, I hope everyone's in there playing the game to play the game. That should be your first deal. Play the game to win because I'm in here playing, and then the rest, see what happens. All right, real quick, a few more questions. Janet Johnson, who do you want to leave this week? And then Monica M is saying, I need Angela to win HOH next week. The drama will be outstanding. All right, first question. Who do I want to see leave this week? Nothing against the guy. I'll just leave it at that, right? And then y'all don't know who I'm talking about. No, I maybe would be okay with Chemo leaving, only because I think otherwise it makes that side so strong. I think if Chemo leaves, if T-Core, Chemo, Rubina get the first shot taken. Yeah, I know they've been on the block. Maybe you count that as a shot, but to actually have someone from that side leave, I think that makes them feel a lot less secure. Not that Chemo's ever felt secure, but I think that makes for a more exciting season if he leaves over Quinn. As far as who I want to win HOH next week, gosh, I don't know. What would a Leah HOH look like? Angela would be interesting. I kind of want Mackenzie to win. I got a certain spot in my heart for Mackenzie, being an Aggie and all that, and the fact that at the start of the season she felt so alone and all that, except for Matt and all that. But once Matt was gone, I wouldn't mind seeing Mackenzie win an HOH and see which way she goes. Although, just watching her get a little power go in her head with the veto, I don't know if we could handle a Mackenzie HOH. She may really let the power go to her head. I think. Can you picture Leah winning HOH and everyone has to go to the HOH room and do one-on-ones with Leah? The way she could storytell and the way she can draw out any conversation to 10 times longer than it needs to be. I'll match her right up with Kylan for the longest one-on-one sessions that you could possibly ever have without actually getting any content out of it. Yeah, Leah would be interesting. Don't think I want Angela to win another HOH. Talking about going to your head. I think that's too much. Leah or Mackenzie. I'm going to go for those two. Would be interesting to see either one of them get HOH. We'll see. And yeah, maybe Chemo going, just because I think that fires everything up and flips the house around enough to make everything just that much more exciting. All right, let's see. A few more questions here, and then we'll start shutting it. Sue Hogg. Hey, my mom is out here. Hey, Mom. Thank you. I appreciate the support, Mom. She always supports me. My mom didn't get any sleep during my season. She and Sharon stayed up all night long every night watching live feeds. My mom is saying, I would love to have Tucker back again and see how he would change things. I don't think Tucker would change one thing different. He would come in, do it exactly the same way because he's too proud to admit that he ever didn't do anything exactly the way it needed to be done. I think he has said in interviews that, yeah, maybe the last little bit he wouldn't have volunteered to go up for T-Core and all that, but he would be interesting to still have in the house, right? What would the house guests do if they suddenly, one of two things, if they thought there was a battle back and he was coming back, they would be falling all over themselves, either in fear, should be fear, the way some of them have talked about. What if they just bring him back as a punishment of some sort? Remember Jesse, Mr. Spectacular? They had a few times where someone had to go in the have-not room and spend 24 hours with Jesse. Kind of the way we had with Matt. I think it'd be pretty funny if someone had to go get locked in the house with Tucker for 24 hours and just listen to Tucker badmouth someone. I think that would be incredibly fun. And it couldn't be Rabina. Now, Rabina's not allowed to go in a room for 24 hours with Tucker. It'd have to be Mackenzie or someone, and just see Rabina get a meltdown that she doesn't get that exposure. That would be kind of fun. I'd love to see Tucker come back, even if he's not playing. All right. Michelle Mills is saying, if everyone from pre-jury was on the jury, I would say they would vote for Angela and respect her gameplay. It could be. Everyone on the actual jury won't, because they will be voting bitter. I think that's a very good viewpoint. I think, I think that's a great insight, because those who didn't make it to jury are going to be a lot more inclined to say, oh, it's a tough game, and we didn't play hardcore, we didn't betray, or they're gonna have reasons for why they didn't make it to jury. And as a result, they're probably going to be a little bit more forgiving of other people, including Angela, and they're going to see that Angela was so involved in the beginning. Now, I'm not sure Matt would necessarily vote for Angela. Would Joseph? I don't know. Lisa probably would. I think. Would Kenny? I don't know. That would be, maybe we need to track these pre-jury members down and ask them this question. Your second part, as far as a bitter jury and all that, I just think we're going to get some bitter house guests this season. And we haven't had that in a while, I don't think. I think for the most part, for the past few seasons, we've had players who respected the game. I think we're going to have people taking it personally this year and voting perhaps against people and not for people. So, yeah, I think that's a great opinion. Thank you for that. I think you could be right. Pre-jury, I'm not sure. Well, I have to think about that a little bit, but certainly bitter juror. Yeah, I think you're right. All right, 8:00. Wow, so quick, guys. I knew it was going to be the case. All right, so let's real quick talk before we get out of here. First of all, there's a hurricane Supposed to be coming this way, but then it shifted a little to the east. So if you're in Louisiana in the path of the hurricane, please be safe. Even when they're the low powered stuff, it's still nothing to mess around with. Trust me, I just got through replacing a fence. Put a lot of work on that. Be safe, avoid high waters, all that. And with that, I'll finish up with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids. Boy, do I love Big Brother, and I love the fans who share a passion for that game with me. So thanks to all of y'all watching as well. As I said at the beginning, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. Turn on notifications, and a thumbs up is always appreciated as well. And then finally, for those of you who watch Monday night, but maybe don't watch my morning recaps, every morning I do put out, it's been averaging about 30 minutes or so, a little 30-minute recap of everything that happened overnight. Lord, they stay up till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, so it makes it tough. But I do a recap of every morning of everything that's happened. Check that out. If you got notifications turned on, you'll know when I drop those episodes. So please check out my morning recaps as well. And with that, we'll call it a night. I love Big Brother. I love Big Brother. And I love you guys as well. Y'all have a great week. Check y'all out either first thing in the morning or again next Monday night. Until then, I'll say it again. SKD 143. Cheers, my friends. Bye. Y'all have a great one. Cheers, my friends.